Hey, it's Grady at Twin Creek Audio, back in the studio today. And today I've got a guitar to show you. I used to do a lot more guitar demos than I have recently, but I'm getting back into doing some of that along with all the other studio gear and mixing videos that I do. Today I have an Ibanez ST200. The guitar was made in 1979, so it's a vintage Ibanez guitar. And the exact one that I'm about to show you is more rare than even a standard ST200. So let's go over and open the original Ibanez case and take a look. Okay, here we go. This is the original Ibanez case here. This guitar would have come with from the factory. And there she is. Kind of a green shag interior on the case. Ibanez ST200. This is a 24 fret guitar. The frets on this one are in great condition. They're not worn out, doesn't need a refret. This guitar is not for sale. I make these videos for informational purposes. This is not an item that's for sale. These guitars come to me from Hot Strings Music, which is my dad, and he collects guitars. He sells some of them, but he finds a lot of these good imported vintage guitars like this. This would be the active tone circuit here. This is mids and treble, and this turns on that tone circuit and the volume. This has a sustain block underneath the bridge too. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see if we can get in close enough so you can see that sustain block underneath the bridge there. And you've got three-way switch, a typical three-way switch. This still has the switch tip. So this one's been shallored here. You can see it's got shallow tuners and not the original tuning machines. So that's not a bad thing. And you've got the nice volute there, a neck volute. So it's a maple neck, I think. Well, we've got some information here in the case. Let me look at this information that came with the guitar. I was going to read this off screen over here. This is an ST200 studio model, made in Japan, July 1979. These were introduced in 1978 and discontinued in 1980, so they were only made for 2 years. Most of these are rock maple, and they have the walnut, or they say this is walnut stringers. Normally, these have a mahogany back. This one does not have a mahogany back. This one has an ash back, a three-piece ash back. And of course, it has the EQ two-tone system with the active EQ, boost and cut for treble and mids. It has Ibanez V2 humbucking pickups. These, from what I understand, these are kind of a copy of a DiMarzio Super Distortion pickup. They actually sound really good too. And yes, I am going to hook this up to an amp and play it for this video here in just a second. Don't know if this is the original bridge. It's the Ibanez style bridge. So if it's not original, it's the right type. Got brass saddles here. Another unusual thing about this guitar that I noticed is you've got like a brass nut, but part of it's plastic, and then you've got like a 0 fret, but it's not a 0 fret. It's a combination nut 0 fret. I don't know if anybody knows what that is. Leave a comment. I've not seen one like this before, and that's pretty cool and unusual. I would say it's a 0 fret, but that piece of brass there, it's got slots in it that the strings are sitting in, and then the plastic piece is more like a spacer. There's no slots in that plastic piece, or maybe there are, but not anything, deep like in the brass. So you can see the slots there in the brass and not so much there on this plastic or whatever this is, corian or bone. I don't know if anybody knows, but that seems like a pretty good design. That's probably one of the reasons this thing plays as well as it does. Has nice low action. This is a 25.5-inch scale neck on this guitar too. Relatively heavy. And here's the back of it. You can see where the 9-volt battery for the active EQ circuit goes in here. a cover for the three-way switch. You can see this three-piece ash back on this one, which is even more rare than the guitar itself to a three-piece ash back. It's like I said, most of these are mahogany. Looks like the top of this, it's got some figuring in the wood too. It's a really pretty guitar. Ibanez was making some great stuff in the 70s and 80s, and they still make great stuff. Is anything else in here? No. A tuner and a receipt. We don't need to look at those. So I'm going to be playing the guitar through this Jet City, which is a JCA 20 HV. So it's the vintage version of the JCA 20 that they're so famous for. And then I've got the custom speaker cabinet with a 10-inch Vox speaker, mic'd with a Sennheiser 421. And that's it. The other stuff over there, that's another speaker cabinet. It's a 15-inch. I might do a video about some of this stuff over there, but we're not using that today. So just, that doesn't exist. It's just this. I have the 421 plugged into this CAPI VP26 mic preamp here. So I'm using a pretty classy preamp with that 421. That one's for my voice mic, so you can ignore that one. This one's the one on the cabinet. So I have the EQ control set in the center and turned off. So the EQ circuit, active EQ's off. Volume controls all the way up, both pickups on, straight into the Jet City 20-watt head. And this is what that sounds like. Let's hear it on the neck pickup now. Do some more of those jazzy kind of chords and stuff. Now I'm back on both pickups in the center position here on this switch, and I'm going to turn on the EQ2 circuit here, and I'm going to boost the mids because this is what I really like about this active EQ circuit on this guitar is flip this on and boost the mids, and it's going to push the amp a little bit harder. With both pickups on, we've got a full sound. We're pushing the amp a little bit with this active EQ boost on this mid-range, and we're going to get a little bit more grittiness out of it this time. like that. I like the active EQ on this guitar. I think it sounds really good. Gonna go now to the bridge pickup with the EQ circuit, the active EQ circuit engaged and the mids boosted. So I've boosted the treble a little bit here on the active EQ circuit, and I've returned the mid-range to the center position, and we're still on the bridge pickup with some active treble boost. Now I want to see what the boost circuit does on the neck pickup. So I'm going to switch to the neck pickup and boost the treble control a little bit. See if we can get a brighter neck pickup sound from this guitar, which would also be something that's kind of unusual and unique about this instrument. So let's see what that sounds like. This guitar sounds great and plays great. I really like the active EQ circuit in this thing. Fantastic. If you can find one of these that's all original and with the original electronics intact, man, this is a versatile guitar. I particularly like this mid boost, or even the bridge pickup. Boosting the mid range here with this active EQ allows you to push the amp and get a little bit more overdrive out of it. So I think That's my favorite feature. Put it on the bridge pickup, turn on the active EQ, boost the mids a little bit, and you get a nice overdrive sound. These pickups are really fantastic, and this active EQ circuit on this guitar makes it extremely versatile. You don't even need an overdrive pedal. You can use this mid boost to push the input of the amp, and it sounds fantastic. I really like this guitar a lot. So I guess that's about it for the demo part of this video. And Ibanez and a lot of the Japanese manufacturers, they made some really killer guitars back in the 70s and 80s. They still make killer guitars today. But back then it was kind of a shock as people, they didn't realize what the quality of these Japanese instruments was. And Ibanez, I'd say Ibanez is the most successful of all of the Japanese guitar companies that started being imported to the United States in the 60s and 70s. Yeah, Ibanez, they're at the top of the list as far as success. There are a lot of other good Japanese guitar companies back then. Tokai, Greco. I have a Greco Flying V, so check out those videos back on this channel if you want to see the Greco Flying V. So I'm a huge fan of Japanese guitars, vintage ones especially. It's really cool. I think the ST200, the Ibanez ST200, is just a fantastic and unique guitar without being so unique that it's strange or not useful. The active electronics on the ST200 may have been confusing to some players back then, but nowadays it's a good system, it's easy to understand, and I think as far as on the vintage market, the ST200 or any of the Ibanez guitars from back in that era, 70s and 80s, are great guitars, very good player guitars, and they're getting to be really good investments too. Well, I very much hope you enjoyed this video. I also hope that you'll check the links in the video description for ways to help support this channel, as well as liking this video and subscribing to the Twin Creek Audio YouTube channel if you have not done so already. I very much appreciate all of the new subscribers and everyone that watches the videos. Thanks so much for watching. I hope that you all have an excellent and wonderful day, night, evening, weekend, weekday, hour, minute, second, nanosecond, whatever it is that you're having. Have a good one. See you next time.